Hello, this is Javier with the Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality that teaches you to live free. And we apply what I call interiorism to that process, guys. And just following in the series of videos that we have been making on the basis of interiorism, I wanted to take a little detour because I have gotten questions about the law of attraction. Javier, what's wrong with just what the current coaches are teaching on law of attraction? What's wrong with Abraham Hicks and those teachings? And why does it seem that you try to put your own spin on those teachings? So I just wanted to go into the question. It's a very important question. It's a question that's touched me personally, and I had to sort of find my way out of it, and that's why I'm presenting these principles to the world. So, what's wrong with the law of attraction? Well, there is no problem with the law of attraction because the law of attraction is a law and it applies in every case in which there are two objects, because unless there are two objects, there can be no attraction, and that points to an issue or a problem right there. You see, the law of attraction is good so long as it doesn't come into conflict or contradiction with other laws, and there do exist other laws. You see, there's no law that's necessarily absolute, I would say, except the law of unity. Of course, we know from this channel the law of unity is that there's only one, but when we start getting into the dream, into the multiplicity, because remember, we have videos about this from the early days of our channel where we explain that everything is at root one. That's non-duality. That's just known by all of the spiritual teachers, by all of the spiritual greats. But we came into this dream, and so we need laws to apply that we can apply to phenomena in the dream. And because we are trying to come here to attain things, we all came to attain things. The only way you can attain anything is by having that dream of separateness. So here we are in this separateness. Now, law of attraction says that that which is like unto itself is drawn. So that's a very true statement. But the problem comes when you're trying to apply it to attain a certain objective. I hope you understand a little bit of what I'm trying to explain, and I'll illustrate it with just a simple illustration. Let's say you want a Ferrari, right? It's a beautiful car. And so what people do, especially newcomers to law of attraction and people that don't understand it a lot, and that's a little parenthetical aside that I'm going to explain here in a second, but the people that screw up law of attraction are usually people who do not have a lot of experience or study in it. So keep that in mind. But let's say someone wants a Ferrari. Well, law of attraction people will say, well, what you think about is what you get. Thoughts are things, and thoughts create. So think about that Ferrari, and you'll get it. Once they go a little deeper into law of attraction, they realize that you not only have to think, but you also have to feel it. You have to get your heart and mind into alignment. This is explained in various ways by various different teachers, and you will receive your Ferrari. So people do that. People imagine the Ferrari. Guys, and here's one of the kickers of this. People even get into alignment, and they do it every day. So people can get so good at visualizing that Ferrari and getting in, on this channel, what we call state, getting into state of that Ferrari, and they still don't get it, and then they wonder why. It's because surface level law of attraction does not explain this. And one of the issues is, and now we're going into people who are new to law of attraction. Even some people have been studying it for years. It is a subject like any other subject, which means that there are levels of expertise. And there are many teachers who just straight up don't know what they're talking about. Like, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but one of the, and I won't mention names, but one of the famous teachers who passed away recently, I think a year or 2 years ago, they get little pieces of law of attraction, but then they still put in that old school self-help, and therefore they dilute that and corrupt that. And what it makes it seem like is that law of attraction is just an auxiliary tool in addition to hard work. And then people wonder why they can't do the hard work and why they can't accomplish it. What hard work do they do? If law of attraction is just hard work, then it just becomes another self-help feel-good ideology. And that's not going to help you. That's not actually what it is. Now, the true teachers of law of attraction, and one of these will not even say that he is a teacher of law of attraction, but there are two teachers that if you stick with them and if you go deeply into their work, you will become an expert in law of attraction. Now, number one, of course, is Abraham Hicks. All of her teachings and writings are the authoritative teachings on law of attraction. You cannot go wrong with that because she explains all of the nuances. She explains even all of the different laws, even if she doesn't call them laws. The only problem is that you have to spend a long time sifting through her materials. Now, I've spent probably about 15 years listening to all of her materials. So I have done the hard work of sifting through the materials. If you want to spend 10 or 15 years sifting through the materials, by all means, and you probably will do that, and it's going to enlighten and enrich your life. However, for those just starting out, many of us want to get free and we want to get to the essence of this without having to spend so much time digesting the materials. That's where my channel comes in. That's where Interiorism comes in. We can get the message to you in a simplified fashion because we have been able to generalize it and we experiment with these principles. Therefore, we're able to come up with principles or deduce principles that will help you immediately. The second author is, of course, Eckhart Tolle, and he goes into the instrumentality, into the mindset of the present moment, which is the shortcut, guys. You will learn the actual teaching of law of attraction from them. My point was there are a lot of bad teachers out there. There are a lot of, stick with these two. These are the authoritative ones. These are the ones, in my opinion, who have explained it most correctly. The second issue of this, guys, or the second reason why people fail at law of attraction is because, again, they take law of attraction and they try to abstract it and they don't take into account other laws. So this person who is trying to get the Ferrari through imagination, even this goes into Neville Goddard's words where people do this. They don't realize that meditation is not necessarily a different state of being from your everyday state of being. Yes, there's formal meditation where you can close your eyes and you set aside a time for visualization, but it's not necessary rather, that you have a practice because you're practicing all the time. There really is no separate practice. So this is why it doesn't always work. Because even if you attain the state of that, then you go throughout your day and you notice the lack that you don't have what you want. And then you start doubting. Oftentimes, the doubts that come from the rest of your waking hours will cancel out the work that you did in your meditation and visualization. Of course, Abraham Hicks does explain this, but it's going to take a lot of listening, a lot of sifting, a lot of sorting. There is an easier way. There's a more direct way, guys, because again, law of attraction works if you apply the law. And then you have to guard your mentality, you have to guard your beliefs, you have to constantly observe those, and you will do that in Interiorism. And that's why Interiorism is such a beautiful modality. You will do that, but without effort. And I'm going to show you how here. What does Interiorism do? Well, again, according to law of attraction, you get exactly your thought feeling. And I'm going to call this thought feeling because it's both thoughts and feelings. You know, they did an experiment with some individuals, and I believe that they were trying to uncoil strands of DNA. This was an actual scientific experiment. It was in scientific journals. And they had certain people who were trained in this brain-heart coherence where they had an emotion, an elevated emotion, and they had a focused thought. Well, what they told some people to do was just practice an elevated emotion, something like joy. Well, guess what? The DNA did not uncoil. Nothing happened. Then they had another person who practiced a focused thought but with no emotion. I don't know how actually you could do this purely, but I think with practice probably you could. because you'll always have an emotion to a thought, but that's a parenthetical. And they really did nothing. They didn't uncoil it. But the people who were trained with this brain-heart coherence, and many teachers train in this, they were able to uncoil, ladies and gentlemen, the DNA. It's a very mystical effect from what I believe Trevor Blake calls your torso wand, which is the brain-heart coherence. Well, there are various methods to get into that brain-heart coherence. The only problem is if you're a normal human being like me, the very act of trying to attain that brain-heart coherence slips you up. So in my early days, I listened to Abraham Hicks a lot, and I applied the law of attraction. I applied it diligently. I didn't get many results because of the fact I was all bubbled up or tightened up inside, because I was trying to make my heart and mind align, and when it didn't do it, guess what? I felt guilty. And I know that many of you have had the same experience. In interiorism, we bypass all that, and through the bypassing of all that, we just allow time to take its course, and that interaction between brain and heart will happen automatically. Let me just give you an example of how it works. With the Ferrari, guys, what we're doing in law of action, we're trying to manifest the Ferrari, is that we're imagining that Ferrari, and then we're peeking on the outer, and we're trying to see, okay, is the Ferrari here yet? No, it's not. So what am I doing wrong? Maybe I need to visualize this better, and so on and so forth. And it just becomes a vicious circle. Now, in interiorism, we bypass this completely, therefore short-circuiting it and solving the problem. How do we do that, guys? By the secret. I'm going to give you a secret that only this video is going to convey for you. Are you ready for it? The secret is, and this is scientifically proven, in our next few videos we're going to be going into the science to cement that certainty. But scientifically, guys, your body does not know the difference, nor does your brain, between an actual situation and a contrived situation. For example, your brain doesn't know the difference between you're imagining a Ferrari and you're actually driving a Ferrari, if you get good enough at it. And again, the way you get good enough at it is by simply ignoring any doubting thoughts that come up and keep doing it, guys. This is really when you just have to keep doing the distance. This is where our David Goggins modality comes in, because we take from all self-help modalities. David Goggins' modality is, well, if all else fails, stay hard. And this is the only place you have to stay hard in interiorism. When your beliefs go against you, stay hard. So the science is proving that your brain and your body don't know the difference when you can imagine something correctly. The only way to imagine something correctly to where you can get to that state is through practice. But the only way you're going to practice is if you don't care the first few times whether you do good or bad. As Tim Ferriss said, you have to first ask yourself, what would a very bad iteration of this be? So let's say you're imagining your Ferrari. The first time you imagine it, you're not going to believe it, guys, and your body is probably even going to be anxious. It has no idea. It's never seen a Ferrari before. It's never seen itself in a Ferrari before. So what you do is you just imagine it. You imagine a scene, or this can also be done through self-talk, guys, because they're one and the same. We're going to make videos on this. This is not a training video on how to actually imagine. We are coming up with this. This is just a video to explain why interiorism works all the time and why law of attraction doesn't necessarily work for everybody. This will work for everybody. So you're imagining that Ferrari and your body says no. But then you return to the core tenet of interiorism. That is, I declare my reality. It doesn't matter about my feelings, because my feelings are passing, guys. My feelings and thoughts are changing all the time. But my state is something that I choose. That comes from the I am. Therefore, I don't care how I feel. And in fact, I know from the theory of film rolls, from the actuality of film rolls, there is a film role where I absolutely believe this. So I'm going to continue to imagine it. And you continue imagining it, and you continue having that inner dialogue until very soon, guys, it does become natural. And then your heart and mind aligns without you having taken effort to do that. And then law of attraction kicks in, and you get what you want on the outer. The point of interiorism is to train you guys, and it's a training, that what you declare is, that your word is law, and so therefore it doesn't even matter what you feel on the inner. That means we don't have to make effort to get into alignment with law of attraction. That means we don't have to try to get our emotions to align. We don't even have to work on our feelings or our emotions. We don't have to, even though sometimes it's good to do that, we don't have to try to make ourselves believe. In interiorism, you just have a key and you put it into the ignition, and it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Why? Because time is going to take care of that. In the meantime, you're going to be enjoying living in the state that you already have, and you're going to get to that brain-heart coherence sooner than you thought possible. Do you see why interiorism is such an easier modality than trying to apply the law of attraction? Now, of course, guys, we know law of attraction does apply, and in various aspects we will be attaining those tools, and I recommend listen to Abraham Hicks, benefit from that, but you do not have to wait on any exterior force. The point of interiorism is you have the key within you right now, and that's the greatest secret. You don't even have to wait for it to happen, guys. You don't even have to peek. You don't even have to open your eyes, because once you can contrive that scene and contrive that self-talk, that's it. You've got it. And why would we care about what happens on the outer? We're going to be giving scientific and philosophical evidence to convince your brain to break the attachment to the outer, to realize that the outer is all Maya and a dream anyway, and it's what you create within that's reflected upon the outer. And that's what we're going to be going into in the next few videos of this series, the science behind it, the philosophy behind it, so that you can know the principles, guys. Because Marcus Aurelius said in Meditations, we must remind ourselves constantly, not only of the principles, but of the arguments behind the principles, because it's so easy to forget, guys. Don't think that you're going to have this and have it forever. I think the myth of enlightenment is a very dangerous one, because it says that you're going to be in a state and be in it forever. All states are changing. They're changing all the time. The only true reality is you, and is the imagination itself, is your essence. That is the interior. Everything else is changing. Therefore, in order to constantly be in a state and then see it manifest on the outer, you have to remind yourself, first of all, of the principles of why you're doing it, and second of all, of the state that you have chosen. Yes, you have chosen it, guys. It's not that you have to earn it by being in alignment with some law. That's the final aspect of law of attraction that many people misunderstand. Not necessarily because it's taught by the expounders of law of attraction, but because people do this in practice, and then some of the bad teachers actually put it out there that this is the case. They say you have to earn it. If you're not who you are, if you're not the person who you want to be with your inner feelings, then you're not going to get it because you haven't earned it. That's absolute bollocks, guys, because in interiorism, you can be that person today. Now you can bypass those feelings, because all of those feelings are temporary anyway, and there is an infinite number of versions of you in some film role that has the feelings that you want to have. All you have to do is tune into that. So interiorism is about putting in a key. It's about tuning into that, and then just have fun and watch what develops on the outer. We're going to teach you how to do that in the next series coming up. So thank you for watching, guys. If you find our videos of value, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Help us get the word out. Join a community of master manifestors, because this train is accelerating, guys. And I will put my email in the description. I'm doing coaching calls. If you'd like to do business with me, please email me. We'll make an appointment. We'll get on a call, and I will show you how to do this quicker than you thought possible. Until very soon, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa. Have a great week.